which is the starting area.
Wait, that's it?
It's
That's small. That's relatively small.
it's not. It's like a third of the game.
What's the
Lenny
best
Grade?
dungeon to run for experience?
The DLC is like a
You want to just
Oh.
run the dungeon that you are currently at level 4. So if you're 87, you want to do Ctesis.
Okay, so
you want to do that over and over.
So
till
I'm
you get 89,
94.
then you do the Atayascope.
So the Atayascope, as opposed to the level 90 ones.
Well, that's if you're level 90, you want to do just any level 90, I guess.
I'll do Atayascope.
If you're 89 or 89, you want to do Ctesis or no, the Atayascope. If you're 89, Atayascope. If you're 90, you can do whatever dungeon you want at the time. But typically, if you're going after just free gear drops off the chests, you want to do your highest level 90 dungeon. Because your highest level 90 dungeon will drop you the better gear score for your class. So, for example, for me, because I still haven't beaten Barbarecia yet, when I get
the
to
hot
the
one,
point,
right?
huh?
She's the hot one.
Yep. When I hit 90, I need to first get my poetics, so that I can get the gear, and then I'm going to be jumping into the Fell Court of Troya, to get the rest of the gear for there. Assuming that the artifact gear, or not the artifact gear, the poetic gear is not better than what Troya would drop. I honestly don't know what Troya will drop in terms of gear score. I don't remember. Actually, I think I actually do, because I think my Gunbreaker has 582. $530. Didn't I pick a
Gosh. Yeah, I'm an idiot.
There it is. 660. Okay, so yeah, all I need to do is just get the poetics, and then I can just go grab the gear off of the merchant that's in Charlian.
Yeah. So, fall back to like kind of the original point that just went awesomely fun. That was such a fun conversation. I'm not surprised that there is frustration and not the game isn't as well received as Shadowbringers Endwalker was. I think those are just natural human reactions. And as somebody who hasn't experienced the story at all, I'm like, all right, like, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. And from what I find fascinating, some of the critique that people have leveraged against it, I go, oh, thank goodness. Like, oh, you're an adventurer, it's not about the warrior light. I was like, yeah, let's put that to bed.
Oh yeah.
One of the things I've heard is that the story is not all that good compared to 1, Endwalker, and 2, even Shadowbringers. Part of that to me feels like this is a bridging expansion, much like Stormblood was after Heaven's Ward.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a very dangerous position to be in.
I'm all for them doing a setup expansion, but at the same time, hearing that we're back to being adventurers, cool. I'm done. I'm honestly glad we're done with the Warrior of Light crap. Although I am worried that the first half of the expansion is, oh, we're adventurers, but the second half, same shit, different pile, because we're back to being Warrior of Light.
Right? If you're doing a bridging expansion, you can't make it feel like ARR again. It has to have the same quality of Shadowbringers, of Endwalker. Otherwise, you're now just in this dynamic of the game's peaked. Why stay? And that's a very difficult situation.
There's a healthy way to play where you're just kind of touching the game from time to time, as opposed to as opposed to like, oh, this is the only thing I play, and it's like, yeah, let's go with it.
I feel like part of the complaint. I feel like part of the complaint that could probably come from the fact that, oh, well, this isn't as good as Endwalker, is because of what Endwalker meant, not to mention Shadowbringers as well. Like, what Shadowbringers and Endwalker meant for the community as the story continued and then eventually ended and culminated in Endwalker, yeah, it's going to be quite the high bar to cross. But this is also a Dawn-Trail going to a brand new story arc. We don't have that same level of building up that Endwalker had.
Yeah, but just look at it from my perspective, right? Endwalker was a massive disappointment for me. Like, I haven't had actual content from FF for like 4 years. Like that is too long. Like it's not providing the necessary. The story quality was terrible. Like it was just awful. The writing quality was terrible. Like, and that's because I feel like the game should have ended almost like the Warrior of Darkness storyline ended in Shadowbringers.
Yeah.
And they never and they kind of failed to set up the Garlean storyline in Stormblood.
Well, yeah, like having that is a bummer. I was hoping that there'd be a little bit more meat on that bone.
Yeah, so I feel like Heaven's Ward was the start of the Warrior of Darkness setup, and Shadowbringers was the end of that storyline, whereas Endwalker was the end of the Stormblood storyline. But the problem was the Stormblood storyline was never that good, and what saved Stormblood was the amount of content it had and the quality of content it had post
I think what saved Stormblood for me was legitimately Bozja and Zadnor, because that felt like that was the story that completed the story. Let's go, you know.
But you never had that in Endwalker because it didn't have exploratory zones. And so it's like you got the second Stormblood expansion, but it never had any of the content cadence that Stormblood had. Instead, you got Island Sanctuary and another copy-paste deep dungeon that adds nothing to the formula.
The disappointment in the deep dungeon, which I actually run it once and we didn't get the clear, and so I was like, I'm not using this for leveling. It's like I hate when I lose progress.
But it's like, why create multiple deep dungeons when you could have just improved Palace of the Dead?